after that with AI, which is cool. Hey, Mike.
That is
Good
cool.
morning for me. I think it's about midday your time.
It is. Welcome. And again, it's happy. Thanks for letting me be on the show and talking about things that we're doing right now. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's third or fourth time I think I've had you back on as you continue to dabble in the kind of SaaS product world and can introduce the continued things to the Power BI community. So it's always good to get you back on when there's cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I hope we're way beyond the dabbling stage of things, making actually like real products at this point. So we've got a real user base now. And so I think we've graduated from dabbling. That was probably my early part of doing things as an MVP, is just experimenting with the APIs and things that Microsoft was producing. Yep. I have this knack for being able to find problems and then think of like, what would be a good way to solve these problems? So that's what a lot of our products have been born out of, is just there's common problems that we see across the Power BI community. And now we're actually extending into the Fabric community as well. And then we're just trying to find what are the most painful pieces of this and solve them, produce our own solutions that make this easy for users and customers to build on top of the Fabric and Power BI ecosystem.
Well, exactly. As you said, the hits the nail on the head. I think most of those community tools and things that get stood up that become either community-based or enterprise-based or often come out of a pain point. I can't think of a single product that's Fabric or Power BI adjacent that didn't come out of somebody's need for a tool. Like Back Studio, Darren made that for himself. Yep. Tabular Editor was made by Daniel for himself initially. Yeah, pretty much all the cornerstone ones evolved from the Measure Killer was how do I clean up a model for myself, and then other people could use this. So each one of those started in that exact same I had a pain point that I needed to solve story.
That's also where I would also echo a lot of these tools like DAX Studio, Tabular Editor, all those things as well. We've also had the same problem with, well, now there's so many external tools, like where do you get them all? So that's what we built our business ops solution to collect all these needed tools together into one place. And so often people feel overwhelmed, like, oh, can I install this? I can install that. I can install this. But we actually we made another product that's specifically just for helping people. You can go Google it, business ops. It's on GitHub. But we collect all of the major tools that you would need to develop in your Power BI ecosystem. And you can go find Business Ops and download it, install it, and then it will let you install and update many of the main programs that are out there. So we'll actually check for updates for you based on their GitHub pages for you, and then automatically load the most recent version and let you know when it's out of date and automatically load that back for you. So kind of fun there as well. That's just one small solution that we found that needed fixing. And now that we're extending that into what we're calling Power Designer and our other product called Entelexos. It's really centered around organizations who are mature or maturing in their Power BI experience, and now they're looking to embed solutions or embed their reports into a product that they want to use for their customers. So that's another really big moment that we're working into right now.
Well, as you said, I dropped the link for the GitHub for the power ups, but I always think of the exhibit quote, like, yo dog, I heard you liked external tools, so I made an external tool for your external tools.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, it was born out of a need. It was born out of my need, right? I was struggling to figure out what are all the tools that are out there. Some of them are PowerShell scripts. Some of them are not. Some of them are full-blown tools. Like, what happens when DAX Studio gets out of date, or Tabular Editor, or other tools, or Bravo, right? How do we manage that? So I was just trying to really solve my internal problem. Was I wanted to be up to date with all these different tools, but I was spending so much time just managing which one was installed. It didn't make sense. So this was my solution to make that easier to manage in one central place.
And if I remember, it's a lot more, because it used to have all of the external tools inside of it, but now it downloads from web for all of those. So it's a fairly light install nowadays, right?
Yeah, so one of the most egregious tools was Bravo. Bravo had a huge install package, and it was almost 500 megabytes in size just by itself. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. We weren't going to tolerate that anymore. So we had to think up a new solution. So some of the larger tools, the ones that are the biggest ones, we actually most of those are published out on GitHub and have an actual releases page from their GitHub projects. So we actually work with tool developers as part of business ops, and we actually help them build what they call a portable installation, so a portable install. And if they build a portable install and name it a certain way on their GitHub page, we're able to tap into that and directly download from GitHub their most recent version or updates for you, and make it easier for you to manage your external tools. So not every tool does that, but the big tools that take the most amount of megabytes, we decided to lift them out of our tool and produce them other places. So we try to help mature the general developer community around that space as well.
Okay. Yeah. Like as you say, you try not to have somebody have to download like a gigabyte file or something just to install all the other ones. That makes a lot of sense.
That's silly.
Before we get into the theme generator and then new ecosystem and products that you just mentioned, if you want to do a little brief background on yourself, and also if you want to wrap in the introduction also where you got what those really cool little fabric colored shoes are that you've got chilling in the background. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Sure, most certainly. So my name is Mike Carlo. I am a Microsoft MVP. I've been an MVP since 2017. I've been playing with Power BI since it came out, so back in 2015. That's kind of my background. My background is mechanical engineering, but I turned data analyst very early on in my career, and so I decided this is where I want to work on. And so I left corporate America. I worked for another consulting firm for 2 years, and I said, it's not bad. I'm pretty good at sales. I can do this stuff. And so I decided to go out on my own and start my own practice. So for now, since 2019, I've been running my own consulting practice. And now we are turning consulting / app developers as well. So we're doing a bit of work in both areas. If you want help with your data warehousing, Power BI, my specialty is Fabric. I actually came from the Databricks world. I spent a lot of time building Databricks environments for customers. And now we're seeing Fabric evolve. So now we're Fabric experts kind of by default. It's a lot of Spark, a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
And now we're spending a ton of time inside the Fabric world for data engineering and now data science additionally. So very excited for that space. We do pure consulting in a lot of areas. If it touches anything in Power BI, we can do it. Large semantic model development stuff. And then we also go into full Fabric warehouse, lake houses, and then architecture deployment and building that Fabric data warehouse experience. I'm saying data warehouse, but it's like the full data product that is Fabric as well. And now what we learned from all those consulting experiences, we're now turning directly into products that you can go buy and accelerate your time to deliver really good, high quality reports, as well as start using your Power BI assets as leverage to go give it to your customers. So the big thing here is how can you keep your customers sticky to you? And then now you use your data as truly a data as a product. So you can actually use that now with other solutions we're doing with embedding.
Yeah, well, I know like that's a big cornerstone of what I feel like you've specialized in, or like found the niche for is very custom embed solutions as well. You know, like app like embed experiences, and a lot of the thin frame embed environments of like, you know, single visual embedding and all that other stuff that I feel like you have more experience than average on versus other development shops.
I've seen a lot of people doing embedding, and I have yet to find another ISV development shop that has more expertise in this space than what we have at this point. I think we've done a total of 26 embedded projects for various customers.
Nice.
So we have a ton of experience. We've been embedding since it was very early on. As soon as it was announced, we were already building projects around embedding and using embedding solutions. So our Accelerator solution, which actually you can go get from the Azure Marketplace, we'll cover that today. It's called Entelexos, and we've taken our best practices of all these customers over the years and boiled them down to a single app. So typical customers take anywhere between 9 to 12 months to develop their own embedded solution into their product. Some are a little bit faster, but most are around that range. And now you can install our solution in 2 hours or less and have the solution up and running and embedding reports immediately. So we've taken that long development cycle and just made that a very simple product that you can go build and develop right now today. And we even give you lots of pricing options. You want to pay per user? We've got that. You want to pay for a small enterprise license, unlimited users? We've got that. You want to buy the code? We've got that. You want to have all the bells and whistles as an enterprise license? We have it. So our product scales for any size of business. And we were just talking with a customer who had only 20 users, 2 developers and 20 individual report visual, like looking at reports and editing reports for 20 users, where you're able to save you money on a month-by-month basis by using Fabric and Power BI embedding. So I think we've really got a competitive solution here for customers who are looking to optimize their costs around either internal or external reporting.
Well, I would imagine with a lot of these solutions, both from modeling or in embed scenario, like the amount of reusable parts of that deployment is more versus less. So, once you can start to templatize it and allow people that would want to have some type of solution like that, but they just don't have the resources or capacity to do so themselves, it makes it very easy to plug and play. It looks like that you've gotten towards. So.
Yeah, I think that's my observation too around embedding. There's kind of like two parts to this, right? Either you're a very small shop and you don't have developers who can build this for you. So that's one, like they had to go hire a developer. So one, you don't have to do that. Then when you get to like medium and larger businesses, they may already have an app. They may already have developers, but their developers are not familiar with all the intricacies of like how to do embedding correctly. And then how do you join user data against what is happening in the Power BI space? And how do you relate a user with row level security down to a specific report? And there's a lot of other considerations that go along with that. What if you want to register a paginated report? What if you want to build a table on top of a semantic model and then make a paginated report from that? There's no embedding experience for paginated report building. So how do you solve that problem? And we've already solved that problem with our solution. And again, this is one of the differentiators between us and many other solutions that are out there, is we are the only tool out there that lets you build paginated reports in real time and save that data back to a report that you can go use later on and export, which is, I think, pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, for the companies that still need that kind of hybridized solution of modern reporting, but something that's, that bridge between SSRS and other stuff like that, for sure. That's awesome.
Larger than you would think. You would think everyone would be all on board with going with Power BI and interactive reports, but the amount of organizations that just want to migrate their RDLs or their paginated reports into Power BI is huge. And there's a ton of users there. So we're addressing that need, that pain point where Microsoft is not pushing very heavily on the paginated report side. They're not really building anything in that space. So we're taking on the initiative to build a lot in that paginated report space to leverage your existing reports, SQL servers, and assets, migrate them to Fabric, and then you can use them directly in embedding, again, bringing down your cost per user to a more efficient space.
Exactly. That's the goal at the end of the day with any of this stuff is like scaling automation from your end, but also something you're lowering the cost of affordability for a lot of clients that otherwise I think, as you said, would have to spend 9 months to engage with some of these solutions.
Think about your Power BI development.
Oh, go ahead.
It scales a bit. I was going to say it scales a little bit. If you're thinking about your Power BI development, day one, you're just trying to build something that works. After day one, maybe months later, you're actually thinking, well, how do I better optimize the cost? Then we start talking about licensing agreements and do I do a premium? Do I do Fabric? Like what does everything look like here? Do I do a premium per user? So I think day one, when you look at Fabric, is let's just build something that adds value. Doesn't really matter how efficient it is. After that phase, you start focusing on how do we optimize it? How do we make it more efficient to do more things in this space? And so I think a lot of companies now are starting to shift from let's just build something that works to now, maybe there's a better way. Maybe we should start optimizing what we build. And I think there's actually a whole wave of embedded solutions here that are going to need to be produced very quickly in order for organizations to optimize their Power BI spend.
Well, exactly. Like at some point, you realize you can't just keep throwing bags of money at something to solve a problem because there's a cap on whatever your budget can be for that.
Totally true.
Pivoting a little bit to the topic of the day, I do see that we have at least the designer. If you're ready, I can flip over to the screen and we can get started on the tool. Cool. Here we are.
For those of you who are familiar with the theme generator, so I don't know, probably most of your audience is very comfortable or interested in looking at like the theme generator. PowerBI.tips has been this staple in the space. We are the world's largest theme generator. We have all the schema and spec things. We are the leader in this space. We probably have the most users as well. So a lot of other tools out there in the community will tout that they help you build themes and theme generation things, but they just pale in comparison to what we developed here at Power BI. So this is the world's best theme generator. And what we've done is we've taken the website, themes.powerbi.tips, and we now have made it what we call a workload. So if you're not familiar with workloads inside Microsoft Fabric, a workload can be found over here on the left-hand nav on your Power BI environment. You'll see a workload here. Workloads are a number of tools and solutions from various providers. So you may have Prophecy, or you may have data engineering where you can use Osmos. You have Neo4j Graph Analytics. You might have Informatica. So these are a number of other companies that have built workloads that help you integrate their data solutions directly with your data inside lakehouses and fabrics. We decided, well, yeah, this is cool, very fun for a lot of data processing. You'll notice all these tools here are pretty much data driven. They're all table based or information driven based on lakehouse and master data stuff. There's only one tool in this marketplace that is visual based. That's us. We're Power Designer. So we rebranded our theme generator, and we have brought Power Designer directly to Fabric. So the idea here is you can get access to the rich Power BI tools directly inside Fabric, and this is going to extend. So there's other tools we have planned in the hopper here that will let you build more cool things inside Fabric with semantic models and data. This is just the start of what we're going to be building. So you definitely want to jump into this. To give you a quick demo of what this looks like, we've actually revamped the entire version of building a workload, or sorry, a theme generator. You can actually make a specific, you'll see here, I have a corporate template living here as a design file directly inside my workspace. So now you can directly make theme files inside, or design files now, we're calling them, inside your workspace. So that's one of our products. I just want to quickly pay a little bit of homage to our other product that we've recently made. This is called Entelexos. This is the embedded solution we were talking about. This is something you can go get in the Azure Marketplace today. It's a full embedded solution. It will allow you to embed a report directly into an application. You install this app through the Azure Marketplace. You can deploy this into your own Azure tenant. It's built on everything modern that is Fabric. Here's a sample of a report that's being embedded. Not only can you just create reports and land them in this application, you can also edit them. So this actually gives users the ability to edit reports. And the neat part about this is you can now edit reports, copy reports, build your own paginated reports, all inside this embedded solution without needing a Power BI Pro license. We're doing all of this with Power BI embedding. Super rich capabilities there. Again, going back to our earlier discussion around cost optimizing, this allows you to really scale out your environment. You have groups of reports, you can have users, you can specify which reports and which users are accessed together. Users have a custom UI where they can favorite their things, they can make their own bookmarks, they can create their own tables of data and export them. So this is a really rich solution that I think if you look at the use case for users who are consuming data from Power BI, this covers a very large range of user base. We have a development team that's making content. We have another team that's consuming content. This is a huge usage for consumers of content. Okay. Those are the two products we're going to kind of cover today, Entelexos and then the theme generator, now called Power Designer. Let's jump back over to Power Designer, and I'll actually show you a demo of how this works. So let's jump in here. I'm going to start with a new workspace. I'm in a design library workspace. This is a Fabric-enabled workspace. You can tell because of the little diamond at the top here, it's part of Fabric. And you can click on New Item, and you can actually go search for, once you've installed the workload, you'll see a little dialog to install it. You'll see a Power Designer option here. And I'm going to click on Power Designer. And what it will do is here, it'll spin for a moment, and it will then bring up the design name here. I'm going to use this one. So this is the Havens design. And we'll hit create there. So we'll drop that in. And what this will do now is it'll spin up the workload for you automatically. It will allow you to have the full experience of theme generation. And now we're actually going beyond theme generation. It's also making your own wireframes, having a gallery of elements. So you have the ability to go in here. There's actually templates. So this is the world's largest collection of ready to use templates for all your Power BI reports. We have people from the community building things here. We have Chris Hamill building items that he's had in the past. My company builds a bunch of templates in here as well. And you can get a preview on these different items. So if you click on the item, you can see there's a preview of the backgrounds. We call these backgrounds a scrim. And then if you click on the scrims themselves, you can see the individual images, what they are. And then if you go to the pages, you can see that there's actually visuals with no data placed on the pages. And then we're actually using a little bit of AI to help you build this. You can actually go through and look at other examples here as well. Here's another example of an additional report, has a little pretty image. And then we have reports with colors and backgrounds and images you can also modify and use within the report as well. So let's just show you how this all works. I'm going to go build something in here. Let's go to find, here's a pretty good one. I'm going to go into this background here. And what we can do is we can copy and edit this directly in the tool. So I'm going to copy this design. And what this will do is it'll immediately land this background. Each page is automatically represented here as a page in the report. It already has a color palette that's been applied. You can see here, if I go over to the color palette page, there's already a color palette that's designed for you here automatically. You can modify it if you want, rearrange the colors, adjust the ordering if you'd like. If we go back over to the wireframe experience, we have a new thing we've added recently called Visuals AI. If you don't have AI in your tool, it's not really a tool anymore, I think. So that being said, what this will do is it'll actually read all of the images on the page here. And so one of the things I found that was extremely tedious, this one has a very dark background, so it's having a hard time picking out the different visuals. Let me go grab a different gallery here. Let's go grab from the gallery. Let's go try a different one here. This one I know works pretty well. Let's do the AI on this one. We can clear this, and then we can run Visuals AI on this. What it will do is it'll actually try to detect all the bubbles or the squares on each page. And what you'll notice here is it goes through and it's actually adding on each page. It's finding, hey, there's a square here. There's enough contrast between that square and the background. We think a visual may need to be placed on that page. So now, instead of me having to go through every single page and drop every single visual, with a click of a button, I'm just automatically detecting that for you and slapping on a bunch of visuals that you may want to use. You can click on the individual page and edit it. So if you go edit this page, you can actually go modify the visuals on the page. You can see here it's already outlined the visuals where it thinks it needs to go on the page, which is pretty dang cool.
That's cool. It's very cool.
You can also upload your own images. You don't have to use the images that we give you here, so I can actually mimic that as well. We can delete all these pages on the main page here. So let's say you're starting with a wireframe that has nothing here. I'm going to borrow from the different scrims here. So you can actually upload your own images. And another thing we'll call out here that's really neat in the tool is every image you upload has a dimension. There's a width and a height to this. So Reid, I know you like playing around with a lot of the page design stuff. We know that not every time you need a report that's always going to be landscape. It doesn't always need to be 1280 by 720. It could be high definition. It could be 920 by 1080, right? You could have other image sizes. So what we do in this tool is we allow you to select these images. You can automatically generate pages based on every image, and every size of the image is automatically added as a page. So again, if you're using like a Figma or Paint, you can use those tools to build really rich designed images and then immediately upload them. And then you can then click one button, boom, now I've created 4 pages. Okay, great. Let's populate those with all the visuals. Again, I can just run the AI here, and now it populates all my visuals. So now I focus more on the designer aspect of my report, and I focus less on trying to make all the report. I don't have to worry about moving visuals. That just is a waste of my time.
I'm still waiting for the day where we're about to come up on the 10-year anniversary for Power BI this summer, by the way. And can we please make 1080p the default, not 720 for the resolution? We have right? we're on 4 to 5K monitors, and 720 is still the default. Like we could have a little report density is the thing you want to avoid too much of, but we can have a little more pixel density on some of that.
Exactly. So. And one of the things that we really recommend, especially when you're building designs, you don't need pixel density. So pixel density is not really a thing anymore because all your background images can actually be an SVG image. So you'll notice in this example here, all these images here are SVG. And you can notice if I select on one of the pages here, SVGs are a valid file type for a background image. And an SVG has infinite rendering. You can render the page size at whatever you want. So even if you wanted to update this page, I can link these pages here. Let's keep that linked together as a ratio. And then this ratio should go up to 1080. And I should be able to upscale this image automatically. Now the visuals are now no longer in the right location there, but I've been able now to upscale the image and upscale that to now a 1080 by 920. And then the image background is automatically scaling to this. So again, part of the tool here is we're trying to make it easier for you to mass edit pages all at once. I'll just see if I can rerun the Visuals AI again. It went back to the original size, but you can upscale your images easily and just change the page sizes automatically by using the the built-in tool pieces as well.
And that's really
Everything
cool.
else, if you've used Theme Generator, it all still exists. You have the color palette. We have a really cool color wheel that if you want to get complementary colors, we've also added a lot of other things like, I want to build a monochromatic theme. I also want to build complementary colors, like ones that complement. You can play around with that a bit.
Yeah.
And you can adjust all the bubbles. So this is a very common staple when you see a lot of like theme generation stuff. It's now all included inside the tool. You can do triads. You can increase the number or reduce the number of colors you want, and adjust those as well and make them a bit more, less vibrant as you need. And it all works within the tool. So you can just do all those things you want. One of the features I really like is building gradients on things. I think this is super cool. I can randomize a bunch of gradients and immediately add them to my report. Add them all right here. Boom, done. You can pick the ends of the spectrum, or you can add a middle color or multiple middle colors if you want. And you can randomize those as well and pick multiple spectrums of colors if you need to. Kind of fun stuff.
Finding a good color palette is I think like often been a challenge, and like thankfully you also have like GPT stuff as well too. It's like I've actually done a lot. Like I've screenshotted like or provided a picture of like a company logo. Like, all right, I need these 3 colors. What is a recommended like remaining color palette for Power BI? That's going to be complementary but still divergent enough that it's going to look good on charts or something like that. So built-in co-pilots and things like that. Yeah, it's been really useful on like building out a color palette that works but also doesn't look bad.
So it's a really good point you bring up, Reid. I use this a lot. Here's an example of where I use Copilot in my browser. I will go to my browser and I will immediately go talk to Copilot and build out a bunch of items. Yep. So I literally just prompted it and said, hey, build a color palette using a sunset in hex codes. Here it is. It gives me all the different colors, all the different hex codes. And I can also ask it to format each hex code group into a list. And so now what I can do is ask it to format everything into a list for me. And the reason I'm doing this is because this now, what's a comma separated?
So you can paste into the intermultiple hex codes. Yep.
Comma separated list with no descriptions. Right? If I ask it this, so you can actually get the Copilot. See, there we go. Look at that. Boom. So now I have a comma separated list of all the hex color codes. What I can do now is you can just grab this whole color palette, boom, rep it in there, and then you can just add that, and we will automatically know how to parse all those hex codes for you and just immediately add them in there. So we've actually done a lot of work around this to make our tool really seamlessly work with other AI agents that you can just go grab stuff, copy that, paste it in here, hit add, boom, done. So now I'm getting a lot of different color palettes, and now I can just talk to an AI agent. This AI is free. It's in your browser. It's an Edge is what I'm using. And just with a little bit of prompting, you can automatically have that just give you the answers that you need and get a lot of really crazy, cool ideas very quickly. Other things you can do here as well. If you click on the color itself, you can highlight the color directly. And you could say, using this hex color code, make a palette. And then you can actually enter it in. And so I can just talk to it, and then it will then build out that list again. And then you can actually say, make this a comma separated list. Make this a comma separated list. And then it will give me the name. And then here we go. So now from that one single color, I was able to then build out from a single color. Let's clear all these out and we can put that in, add it back in. Boom. Now it just built this for me, which is pretty slick.
Now, out of
really cool
curiosity,
stuff there.
Anytime I see one of these things, do you have anything that does any kind of a validation of what because like there is plenty of subjectivity when it comes to colors, but the one thing that does have like rules in terms of contrast ratios is like is it 4 to 1, 5 to 1, like that minimum requirement for accessibility or something like that? Is there anything that kind of validates some of the colors built into the tool, or do you just have to go to like a third-party tool for that?
Yeah, we are looking at features that will add that. We have some things inside our tool today. I'll go back to the tool here really quick. We do have some under the gradient areas. You use this vivid colors, which tries to add more vividness or distinctness between the colors. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that we really have. We're actually not doing color contrast checking on these because you could use these colors anywhere across your report, right? These colors will pop very well on a black or white background, but if you have like a gray background or a bluish background, they don't pop as well. So it's very difficult to identify if there's enough contrast between the colors. But what I also recommend, and you've seen this on other tools maybe as well, there's actually a really rich tool color generator called Coolers, coolers.co. And if you start the generator, this is a great tool. It has a lot of interesting tools in here. You can randomize things. You can remove colors. You can add colors very quickly inside this experience. You can also go to, I believe they have a gallery, explore palettes. Again, this is another place where they have tons and tons and tons of colors here. But I want to show you this really neat feature here. If I click on this color palette, let's see if I can go here, open palette. You'll notice the URL of this has the color palette already embedded in it. So up here in the upper left-hand corner, you see that Coolers has the color palette for you automatically. Awesome. So why not just grab that whole URL, copy that whole URL, go back over to our tool, you just dump it in and hit add. We will automatically parse the URL for you and rip out all the colors and put them directly in the tool. So you can use kind of any, you can kind of use any tool that's out there. You can go use Coolers, you can go use chat bots, you can go use Copilot. Like you can use a lot of, so all of those tools are accepting this hex color enterer here is very generous and will parse out a lot of things and find the hex color codes in text that you provide it. So
I almost feel like you need a link just directly to that one website, because like that it's a cool feature, but it's very hidden, and like I don't know if that makes you prioritize that website too much over others, but it like having a note to like we could extract from like these list of approved sites that basically just has an easy accessible HTML table that will have those via link.
Yep, exactly. So I want to highlight that feature because we do this. It's built into the product. People don't know about it, but I think this would actually help you or accelerate you in building more color palette things that you would need to go play with later on. So anyways, that whole website is at your disposal. You can go ahead and use it today, and then you can just browse colors until you're blue in the face and directly use them from here. We also have our own tool. If you go to gallery.PowerBI.tips as well, we also have our own color gallery as well. And we have a infinite scrollable, I think we've over got 15,000 different color palettes that people have made. A lot of them are repeated because they're playing with things. But you can go here and you can scroll for days and find color palettes here that you think are interesting and cool. We're working on some technology right now to allow you to discover what color palettes are out there and then bring in the best color palettes for your tools as well. So we've got a whole bunch of tools that we're trying to build and consolidate down to Power Designer now. So that kind of gives you the whole run of the reel of the color side of things. The other thing that's most powerful here is the properties panel. So once you've built your color palette and you're ready to stylize your visuals, we're the only tool in the market that does any kind of real-time visual interactions. This is Power BI embedded. We know what we're doing here, so we decided to leverage the same experience inside the tool as well. So what this does is this allows you to visualize an actual visual with all the properties on top of it, and you edit them in real time. So if I want to go to the title of the visual, I can go in the title, I can align this to the center, and it'll then immediately update the visual to show me that alignment. You can change the font color or make it bold. You could also change the text size and increase the size of the text. All this happens in real time, and so we're actually adjusting the style of this one visual for you automatically. So that's really cool here as well. You can do that kind of really neat featuring. One thing I will just note here, just as a tip or trick around this is, a lot of people think that when I want to adjust the title of something, I have to adjust the title on every single visual. Or let's just say I want a lot of titles on things, but I want to turn off the title on a couple visuals. So I do want to point out here, so we have this title styled at a bold and a size 29. You can see here that it's implemented that way. I can reset this back to 0. And we have this thing called global properties. A global property will allow you to set this property, the same thing. We want to align it to center for titles. We want to make it bold. We make the text size 28, right? What we had before. Now, when I go back to the visual, you'll now notice that that property has already been applied. The title is large, it's centered, it's at the middle, but this is on every single visual. So every visual has that same size of title and it's turned on and centered, but some visuals, you may not want that, like a KPI card. You may not want that title on. So I have this property or this experience of like negatively styling. So it's called a negative style. So at the global level, you can turn on all titles for all visuals. Let me go back over here to the title here again. Go here to title and we'll just say show it always. This is the show button for showing titles for every visual. Now, when I go to the card visual, you'll see the title appear if it had a value. Let's do title here. So there's the title of the card visual. Well, you may not want card visuals to actually have a title. So what you can do at the card level is you can say, I want to override that setting and turn it off. So now you can have this, what I'm calling negative styling. You can have a style that is a global property across all visuals. And then for the particular ones that you want, turn off the setting. Another great example of this is when you are using the extra buttons on the visual. You have like the download, the more options, the show the help button. Those things are very annoying to turn on or off per visual. So I use a lot of what I'm going to call negative styling. I'll turn the feature off at the global level, but I'll only turn on the individual properties at the table, because the table really is the one you want to show those additional buttons and options. So exporting and doing things as well. So really cool feature here under the properties area.
And for some of these, the basically looking across this for the visualization of the app, we have a few of the new preview visuals. I do see the lightning for the new slicer visual and a few others. I know that there's I forget the exact number, like three or four extras.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's the card new, there's the slicer, and then there's also the list slicer, and I think there's one other. I think there's 2 that I don't see, but the curiosity around those is is this something that you're choosing to add manually? Are you harvesting this from like the Microsoft repository on like which things show up here? So what determines if and when things get added to kind of the top section for visuals?
Yeah, so the properties of each visual we harvest directly from Microsoft. There's a spec that they use, and we harvest that every month, and so we always are up to date. So that's one of the advantages of using this tool, is we are always up to date within a couple of days of Microsoft releasing their actual spec. We're usually the most current tool. In January of this year, we actually saw a huge breaking change from desktop that required a lot of tools to not use properties anymore. And so we were within a couple hours able to identify the issue, update our spec, and have the change automatically implemented in our tool. So we've done a lot of work around making sure that we are as in sync as possible. When we add new visuals, those are a little bit more work for us because those aren't automatically coded in, because we need an icon. We got to change the app a little bit. So those are on our backlog, as we're going to get those added in here fairly shortly as we add new icons. There's a couple of things we also don't have at the report page level. So there's like, buttons. There's a couple other things here. We have buttons. We have shapes. There's a couple other shape things that are not standard visuals, but we need to add them. So it's on our backlog. We're going to get to it when we get to it, but we probably have the most comprehensive tool that's out there right now.
Yeah, just as you're saying, like for the time savers, is those new ones from Miguel's team are like, they're great, but if you're not used to like configure them, it could easily be like 10 or 15 minutes sync to get that card looking just the right way, because there's like 85 properties you need to select. It's to the point now that I actually just have a bunch of PBXs that are there as like placeholders where you have the visuals saved, you copy paste into a new workbook, and it already has your format settings for those.
Totally. So that's one thing that we're working on how to make that experience better. One thing that we also feel is really, really strongly about is once you've got a style design figured out for like a visual or global or something like that, you really want to save that and come back to it later. We're actually really exploring right now is how would you build a style like on a single visual and save that and keep it? Or how would you have multiple styles on the same visual, right? I may need to have multiple styles for a bar chart. How would that look? So we're actively working on that as well to see if we can add that as a feature additionally to the tool. Okay, one of the two things I want to point out here, we have other things for like your colors on the report. So we can define all your standard grouping colors for the report. So if you have any gradient colors that are happening down here below, we have like a gradient. You can actually adjust those at the global level as well.
Nice.
We can pull from your automatic color palette, and then you can adjust them, and it automatically adjusts those colors for you automatically. So we can do any kind of cool grouping or gradient level things as well. We also have all the text properties. So every property that relates to text items around your report. So if you want to set the defaults for titles, if you want to set the default for large titles, data labels, all things, you can do those globally as well. That applies that property to all visual, all properties. And the one that we're really excited about is this icons. We have over 8,000 icons you can pick from. Odds are we have an icon that you could use in your report. So these icons can be used in tables. They are part of the theme file, and you can use them directly in here. I think we are the largest collection of icons anywhere in the world for any theming. And they're all labeled, and you can go search for them, different battery icons. I mean, just tons of stuff in here that you can just go get access and have access to. So that's another really cool feature here for filtering and looking for different items inside this list as well.
So you need to add 700 and 15. So you need to have 850 more, and then you can have over 9,000.
Exactly. we gotta find some more icons as well. There, yeah, very cool. So that's a lot of really neat things you can do there if you wanted to. So just to share a little bit more around this one, not only can you add these icons, you can add them and you can adjust the color of them as well. So you actually have the ability to like readjust the icons in a specific way, and so you can have a purple circle. So we can do purple here. And then you can add that, and then you could add the same icon again and with a different color. So actually this allows you to make different stylized or themed items with the same object over and over again. And we actually do that on the fly in real time and let you see that as well. So we can actually make your own icons and color them for what your report needs are. And we really do believe that those colors should be coming from your color palette. So this is also aligning to your initial color palette of things as well. So it's, again, features of the tool that exist. I want people just to be aware that they're there, and it's awesome to use this as a design experience. Okay, we've done some color palette, we've made some pages, we've done some things. So what if you want to test this theme against an actual report? So the last part of our project here is we're going to go preview an actual report from a workspace. So I'm going to go into one of my workspaces, and I am able to go grab an existing report, embed that report in here, and apply that theme file directly to my existing report. And I can see that the titles are all bolded and centered. I can also see that the colors have changed on this visual. This one is being overridden by the individual visual in that report. But now you can go look at your report and see real changes. If you don't like those colors, you can always go back to the color palette and say, yeah, that was not good. Let's clear that all again, and let's just randomize some more colors. Let's go after, yeah, that's good. We'll try those. So now I'll do a little bit more of a muted tone. We'll make a little bit more variation between the different colors. And then you go back to your preview, and it will then re-render that report with those new colors in it. So you can actually go back and forth between testing your theme designs against real reports. We think this is super impactful. Users are going to love this feature. And the next major feature that we're releasing now is, now that you've built the wireframe, you've got the template, well, what do you do with this? How do you get it out? We have features today where you can export it, you can download or you can upload your own theme file, you can download just a theme file. You can download the zipped file of the PBIP or PBIR project. You can download a full PBIR to a lakehouse as just all the individual files. Well, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be adding the ability to publish this whole report directly into your workspace. So we're going to actually let you select a workspace, pick a semantic model, and we will rebind the report, all the template pieces, and directly into your workspace, and you'll be off to the races. So we're, again, removing more friction here around really focusing on the design of the application, the report, and then immediately attaching it to an existing data set and building immediately with this one. So we think this is going to be another compelling feature, hopefully being released here in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's cool. Nice to see it continue to evolve too. But I love the direct integration with all of the project formats and everything that come with those, both from the PBIR. But the Tyndall perspective, because it's like that's where batch automation is essentially headed, right?
Yeah. So if we go download this PBIR, I can select the lakehouse where I'm going to go put this. So we can go here to, let's see here. I think we have designs lakehouse here. I'm going to connect to that lakehouse, and I can actually just save this into my project files directly into the lakehouse. So when I save this one, it will bundle all the files together. And if I go back over here now to my workspace, you'll see in this design lakehouse, we go open up the folder structure here. All the artifacts that we need are now in my designs folder. So that will be here, and there's your project.zip, and you'll have other files, your theme file, project file, all the other things that you would need. They would all live inside this experience. So you can go ahead and access your project. So here's all the report, data set, PBIP. This is the full project. Everything is here and ready to go and ready to be downloaded and used if you want to go keep a copy of that as well. So you can get your designs out. It doesn't have to stay in the program the entire time. So yeah, awesome. We're kind of still working on the processing of all these things and making it really super easy and simple to leverage inside the tool. All right, so that's our theme designing tool that we've built. As we talked a little bit about Power BI embedding, let's just introduce that Entelexos solution as well. So another really rich tool and solution that we've been building here is a embedded solution called Entelexos. Entelexos allows you to embed your reports. And let's just give you a quick demo of what that looks like. So I'm going to go log into my Entelexos here. And actually, I think I need to switch browser windows because I'm signed in with probably the wrong user here. Let me switch a browser window here. We'll see how fast I can switch here on the stream in live mode here. All right, let me go down here. And I'm going to probably reshare my screen here, Reid, just so you can have the new browser share here in a second. So let me just go do that. I'll stop sharing, and then I'll reshare again. You can see which window it is. The one I want. All right, excellent. All right, you should now be seeing a login screen, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, great. I'm going to switch browsers here so I can actually use the right email address that I want to log in with here. So what it does is it allows you to log in. Once you're in a solution, you have different environments that you can move between. So I'm going to switch an environment here. All the branding of the solution, this is an embedded out of the box. You install it within a couple hours. You can get all this stuff set up, configuration of an app registration, and start embedding reports. This is the page. So if you're a user of this application, you can go here. It's a very simplified view. It's not so busy like PowerBI.com. A lot of users of organizations think that PowerBI.com is a bit too busy. Sometimes I just need a list of reports. This is the place to go do that. At the top, we have these key cards. You can jump right into a fancy report. This is the one that we've used a lot. You'll see this all over my website. It's a good example here. Microsoft themselves even thought this was good, and they borrowed this report and use it for their documentation. But this report here is a full embedded report. You can go ahead and interact with it like you normally would. Everything that is custom and that the app is doing is at the top section here. This is all app-based information at the top. And then from there, you can do other things as well. So let's say I want to add bookmarks to this. You can go into the app and you can select different data elements directly in the report. And from those data elements, you can create your own bookmark. So you can make your own bookmark. And then cool. We can save that. And then imagine I'm going to come back into this report later on and I want to edit that bookmark or come back to it. So if I click on the bookmark, it will highlight on the right-hand side and show you the selected information. And as you move between different bookmarks, it'll then do what you would expect inside PowerBI.com, the service. But just having the bookmark's not relevant. You actually need to get to it later on. So you actually have this ability to add it to a folder. So you can actually create bookmarks, create a folder for all the bookmarks across different reports. And now when I go back to the home page on my dashboard, you'll see I have all these new bookmarks in a folder. So I can now deep link from the bookmark right into that report. Deep link, and then it'll take me into the report. It'll add the bookmark and apply it for you automatically inside the report. So a lot of times we see customers coming in and doing the same report over and over again, but the time period changes, the customer changes. So now you can just set up all your bookmarks and have them on your homepage. And with one click of a button, you're now into the report in the right context with the right data automatically made for you in the report, which is pretty dang sweet. The other thing you can do here as well, if you are an owner of the report or you've copied a report that you have been shared with, you can actually go into those reports, and we also have a full editing experience as well. So you can go in and edit the report. You can create a copy of said report. You can then do a full edit experience. So this is another experience here that I think is just absolutely rich here. More companies need to be using this in the embedded space. Is you need to not only be able to have reports. If I can edit a report that's been given to me, I don't need a pro license anymore. I can actually just go use embedding to go get users access to existing reports. They can make their own changes, edit right in the service. The only downside I'd say this one is when you use edit and embedding experiences, there is no those newer visuals do not exist over here. So there's a little bit of a limitation in the visualizations area where those newer visuals are not showing inside the embedded experience. But other than that, you're good to go. All the experience here works just very well. You can then file save this as in the report.
Back to like the workspace, or?
Yeah, it does. So you actually, in our application, you actually can specify a different location or a workspace. And so now you can actually make your own copy of that report, and I can save it somewhere else. So I can save it to my saved items, confirm it, and we actually create a new physical item of that report, save the object down, and now you've got a custom report saved, and you can edit that as well. It's totally different. It's your own report. You can edit to whatever you want. I'll go back here. We'll change this to a table again, and then I'll just hit save again. And then there we go. Now we've edited our report inside the service, and now I can close out of the edit mode. And yeah, you can add all kind of really interesting things there. You can now full edit a report inside the service, save all those informations, and have them linked back to your account. And there we go. I'll go back over here to my homepage. Yeah, so now here's my Havens report. You can also add it to your favorites. So if you want to favorite this one for later, it'll actually make another section for favorites. Or if I want, I could even add it to my bookmarks folder. And so now it'll also add it here. So you can kind of hyper flexibility as to what users would want to do or how they want to manage things. You can rearrange items, all kinds of really neat experiences. Again, just really making this data experience for external users of your company or even internal teams totally premium. You can also embed paginating reports. So another thing that's really relevant here is a lot of companies have paginating reports they have them, they exist. Let's embed them. So here's a report where I have parameters that have been built in Paginating Report Builder. I can select the different items that I want, hit View Report, and boom, my Paginating report renders. This Paginating report is automatically connected to a semantic model. If there are any row-level security items, it's automatically applied directly to the report. And then you get the full export experience, Excel, PDF, all the things that you get out of Paginating report goodness, it exists here, which is super cool. I absolutely love this experience. So those are kind of the two main things, reports and paginating reports. Interesting, kind of cool. But what about building your own reports in paginated or tables? We have that too. So this is another embedded solution that we have built totally custom. And this is where you can connect to a semantic model. Okay. And this semantic model will read the semantic model. We will return all the dimensions and all the measures for the user. Again, applying row level security to this model. And now I can go build my own table. So I can go product, country, segments, and I can bring some of cost of goods and some of profit. And what we do is we build a custom DAX statement. It goes back to the semantic model and returns the results for you. Boom. Now you're done. You can rearrange the columns dynamically by moving things around. We will rerun the query and bring the data back to you, again, right from the semantic model. Super fast because it's built on top of analysis services. You can even apply different filters here. So I have Cartera as my product, but I can go here and I can filter out to different products as well. So let's go to Montana and Aveo and then hit apply.
You said this has row level security. So like, it's not necessarily that you have to have a license, but it is authenticating some Microsoft login and at least passing that through to the user RLS table in the model, even if they don't necessarily have a pro license itself.
100%. Now, let me refine your statement there slightly. You don't even need a Microsoft email address. It could be any email address. So this is an email address, doesn't even need to be authenticated through Microsoft. Whatever the application authenticates you with, we know who you are based on your email address. As long as this user exists inside your semantic model with row level security, the application is automatically negotiating all of the row level security for you and making sure everything works. So it could be Gmail, it could be Hotmail, it could be anything. Any user can have row level security applied to them anywhere in the model. So it's super flexible in that regard.
And
all right, great. We made a table.
And just to play devil's advocate, I'm assuming this is like essentially what, so in these scenarios, a company would have a single like embedded, an embedded capacity license, and then everything else would just be the subscription service to this for like users or anything else. And the two of those together, I'm assuming would be like a net optimization cost saving package that versus 100 pro licenses or having to buy an actual Power BI capacity, a premium capacity.
Yep. Yeah, correct. So the cheapest fabric capacity that you can buy that lets you embed, and then embedding works both for internal or external organizations when you're doing this, is an F2. An F2 can be bought with a yearly license subscription of $150 per month. So the cheapest you can buy an embedded experience is $150 for unlimited users. Now you have to manage your capacity because there's a limit on how much you run that capacity. So you have to kind of monitor that as well. So if you have more users, if you have more data, you will need to scale up the size of that capacity. But the idea here is if you have a very optimized solution, our embedded solution for Theme Generator, we're actually using embedded there. We've got well over 1,000 users a month using the lowest F2 capacity with plenty of room and margin for other things. So it really decides, like if you build an efficient semantic model, you can really stretch the experience here. And so now you can pay per user license to get access to this solution. Or if you want to buy the enterprise with unlimited users, you can also do that as well. So again, we're very confident that if you have 20 users, even lower than that, you can still start saving money monthly on this kind of embedded solution.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. The last thing I'll show you here is I'm going to go over here very briefly and save this. So we have a little save icon up here in the upper right-hand corner. I'll click on save of this report. Again, we'll go back to saving this report somewhere else in our system. I'll hit saved. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to then on the fly build a paginated report with this information in it. So I can click here to now view the report. I will now go to the paginated report that we just built. It's saved for me, the user. And there we go. It will now render my report. It'll give me my experience, and I'm back into the full rich exportation experience. I can do all the printing or web layouts, anything I want here, and I get all my full exporting experience that you'd normally get with Power BI paginated reports. And again, another thing that's very unique for us is over here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll also notice there's a pencil. If I can zoom in here so you can see that one. Our faces are covering a bit. There's a pencil in the upper right-hand corner here that you can click edit, and it will actually take you back to the edit screen. So you can go back to where you want to modify that table. So if I make a mistake, I want to add some more columns, I want to adjust that query, you can then dynamically do that. Yeah, I don't really want sum of profit. Let's ditch that and let's rearrange some columns. Now I can then resave this example. It'll then save the paginated report back to the report, and then I can click on it again and then re-render the report with the new data. So again, this experience is totally custom. No one else has this as an embedding experience today. This is kind of a unique solution that we thought was everyone asks to do this. We're just going to build it. So now we have a really cool custom solution here around exporting your data directly. So that's pretty much the experience of the Entelexos embedded solution. There's a whole bunch of administration things that we're not going to touch on or deal with. The only thing that I think is really interesting here is if you're thinking about buying the solution for your customers, you're always thinking about, well, how do I brand it? What's the branding for those customers? So you'll notice here, I've got a number of example customers. Come on, go away, little brother. Go back to full screen here. There we go. I actually have a number of different customers, and you'll see I have some demo companies. There's Formu. So if you know Formu, Gilbert, he's got an environment here. He's got a little something going on. And then we've got, Dax.tips. If you heard of Phil Seamark, he's also got a little environment here as well. And you'll notice every time I change an environment, the environment colors are changing and the logo is changing in the upper left-hand corner. So for every single environment that you build, you can actually adjust the style, the look, and the feel of every single environment. So this provides a highly customized experience for different teams in your company. You might have a sales or marketing or whatever. You can brand it for whatever their team needs to be, and that way they know they're in the right environment and have access to the right things. Each environment has their own list of app registrations and users, so you can really dial in the security down to like a very fine-grained amount on a per user or per customer basis based on these environments. So that's a whole experience here that you can go get, and you can also add custom domains. So if you want to have, reports.havens.com, right? You can change a URL of this app, and it will run as if it is in your normal application. So you can actually do some other rich things there as well.
That's really cool.
That's it in a nutshell. That's kind of the runaround of the Entelexos solution. If you want more information, you can go visit entelexos.com. And that's just stands for Intel External. And you can go see more details there as well.
Oh, so external Intel. So that's why there's the E at the beginning.
Yep. Nice. It's embedding, it's Intel, it's external. There's a lot of E's going on here. So that's why the labeling of Entelexos. It's kind of, we're playing a little play on words there.
Yeah, I like it. I just dropped the link as well into the chat for people that want to tune into that. No, that you've built a very, a very robust solution for some of this. So this is really cool. Like how many months of development was this?
Years. This has been years. I mean, I've been doing this is a culmination of learning across 27 embedded solutions, right? Every time we're doing one of these, we're getting new requirements, we're getting new features. We're what I really want to do this, and what about that feature? This doesn't exist, right? So we've really taken multiple years to really refine this idea, and we just went to market with a sellable solution of this now on the marketplace. So you don't even need to talk to me. You can go to the marketplace, download it, install it today. And you can pick the basic license or the enterprise license. We actually have some pricing things here. Basic is $300 a month for the basic license. Standard is $2,000 a month to get all the premium features. And if you want to buy the code share and own the code, you can purchase that as well. But if you don't want to buy the code, you just want to use it per user, we actually have a per user license. So users without a pro license can go and use the edit reports, render reports, build their own paging reports, and even render their own paging reports all inside the solution. So this is kind of like that viewer license that we've always wanted inside Power BI that we now get. You can actually now use this as like the viewer license. So that user can do very minimal things, but I think super empowering for that user across the solution. So check it out. I mean, it's a really good tool. I think you'll like it.
It's like 1/5 the price of like 1/4 the price of a standard Power BI Pro license. So they can.
Yeah, a pro license is $14, and then a premium per user license is $24. And so you get a lot of those same functionalities. Hey, I want to just look at a report, I want to edit it, and I want to make my own tables of data to export. Those are the main use cases that we see with Power BI users in lots of organizations. And this also gives IT, if you have a central business intelligence team, you can now, in a metered way, slowly roll out this to people, and they may not be prepared for full PowerBI.com. They may not need to build everything that's in there. So this is a very lightweight version of just getting some reports in people's hands to make that more efficient for them. Again, this is that next step. Let's optimize the build for what you're creating.
So out of curiosity, like will Microsoft ever come knocking at your door? They'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Like taking any licenses away from us?
No, and I'm very confident that's not going to be the case anymore, because we are part of the Microsoft Embedded Partners Accelerators. So we are actually being embraced by Microsoft and encouraged to develop more in these experiences and solutions as well. So we are part of the Partner Showcase. So if you go look up Microsoft Power BI Embedded Partner Showcases, that is a thing that we're on. There's actually 4 companies that are all in the game together here, and they're looking to add more companies as well. So there's going to be more competition. There's going to be more solutions, and you can kind of pick the best one for your organization and business. But we are one of many companies that are doing this kind of stuff with embedded, and this is exactly what it's designed for. I think at the end of the day, it's very strategic for Microsoft to go down this route, because this is really going to push people to buy and get more consumption in Fabric. And I think what this does is it's actually a good teaching moment for organizations to start a workspace, use it for Fabric, immediately have added value and cost savings. But what happens is that customer decides, wow, it's so easy to work with Fabric. I want to build more lake houses. I want to build more data. I want to increase that usage in Fabric, because it's becoming so easy to do everything in Fabric. So I do think this is a good moment for organizations. If you are only Power BI, look at embedding, start extending your experience into Fabric in a very cost-effective way. And then what you'll find is Fabric is great, and you're going to want to use it more for a lot of other things and other solutions. You're going to need to move fast and do great solutions with Fabric and data. So I think this is a really good growth method for customers to start with Fabric. Start here. It's very easy, still feels very Power BI centric, but it very quickly grows you into a robust organization ready to use Fabric. We've seen that pattern a number of times.
And like their goal with Fabric is like it's data hosting and consumption off of that. So it's less about the actual quote unquote users, but putting more models onto the service and things like that. And this becomes a snowball effect growth for that, is when you realize you have 1, then you want 5, and then 10 and 15, you start to put more and more of your data in one lake.
And directly, because really like a lot of features that are coming for semantic models are going to be built inside the Fabric experience, right? So you're going to get better performance, you're going to get higher optimization and better use of whatever your data is. And so Microsoft's smart here. They're not dumb, right? So what they're doing here is they're positioning the idea of, look, if you bring a lot of data to Fabric, the odds of you moving away to somewhere else and doing that data engineering in AWS or Google or whatever, they're going to be much lower. Much harder to move out of Fabric or that lakehouse experience, because it's just so easy to move from lakehouses into models and reports. So Microsoft has got a really good thing going here, and they're going to continue to invest in making this experience like top notch, super premium, and a very competitive price point. I think they're very focused on that direction. So you're going to continue to see more of this, and you're not going to want to move anywhere else, because it's just going to be so much easier to build the entire solution all inside Fabric.
Well, exactly. The minimizing data movement, and I mean, it's such a repository for everything. But the more eggs you put in a basket, the harder it is, to get a new basket down the road, right?
Well, the data is the cool part, right? So once you move the data, you're not going to move it again. Like that's the hook that they've got you with there is once you get the data, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Even though the standard is open format, like, you know, I should be able to pull shortcuts from Databricks into my lakehouse. Like that makes sense. So keep the data where it is, but then just make it very easy to work with the data. And I think Microsoft's doing a great job thinking ahead of the competition in this space.
Exactly. And Copilot told you to say it, right?
Oh, of course it did. It's my jam.
There's always a new sweater, or a sweater, or a T-shirt, or a hat with a good catchphrase every time I see you.
Yes, it's very true. I try and stay on top of it.
At least a couple dozen now, I think, right?
Yeah, I think we've got there's always more ideas coming. We just came out with our most recent one. It's called high concurrency, right? So the whole, you know, high concurrency mode for Spark, the very inside Spark joke, but that's another one that's on our store as well. So swag.PowerBI.tips is where you can go find our funny comments around, you know, data and data things. So just super nerdy gear and things as well. So yeah, we're always kind of having fun. Life's too short not to laugh a little.
There, I dropped a link for that as we finish up. Any closing comments? Anything to, like, if somebody wants to get started with this, is there, in general, is there like a trial or like a demo environment people could poke around with like existing data sets?
Yeah, great question. Both of these products we talked about today, both the Power Designer and Entelexos, they both come with a 30-day free trial. Okay. The Power Designer, you can just immediately go into Fabric. As long as you have a Fabric workspace, go in, try it. There's no credit cards needed. There's no signups needed. You just go in and can use it. So Power Designer is free for 30 days. You get all the premium features, embedding, reports, all the fancy features that you would like to see. It's already included in the tool. Entelexos is also, you can go to the Azure Marketplace to find that as well. So on our entelexos.com page, just go check out Install Today or start learning about it today. You'll be able to go directly to the Azure Marketplace and you can install it. And also that comes with a 30-day free trial as well. So you can get used to the program, see how it works, and install it immediately in your environment. So both things come with a 30-day free trial, no credit cards needed. And then you can decide if you like the products and keep moving with it.
Perfect. And then, yeah, all the links for anybody will be just down in the YouTube description. Otherwise, any closing remarks as we wrap up then for the day, Mike?
Well, if you want to reach out, find me on the social media things. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. So hit me up there. If you have any questions about our products or tools, I'm always on LinkedIn watching what people ask and have questions. So hit me up there if you'd like to. You can reach out and we'd be more than happy to give you a demo for your company or help you even work through some of our tools. We think these are going to change how fast you can build stuff, and we want to save you money by going to market faster with all this stuff. That's the goal here. We think report building and Power BI embedding should be easy, and that's what we build our solutions around.
Nice.
That's it. Thanks so much for the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for coming on for this. And then otherwise, have a great rest of your Friday afternoon and weekend as well.
Cheers. Appreciate it, sir.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to help support this channel, take a look at our channel memberships or our merchandise store for cool swag. And last but not least, please consider sharing this video on your social media platform of choice to help our channel grow. So, until next time.